The city had turned gray under the weight of the storm. Rain fell in sheets, drumming on broken rooftops, running down rusted gutters, and pooling in the cracks of the pavement. People hurried past, heads bowed under umbrellas, no one sparing a glance for the girl huddled beside the trash bins behind an old bakery. Her name was Maya, barely 18, and life had worn her thin. Her blanket was little more than a rag now. Her shoes torn, her hair clinging damply to her cheeks. Each breath came out in a cloud of cold mist. Still, she tried to smile at the baker's cat when it passed, or at the pigeons when she tossed them crumbs from the crust of bread she'd been given the night before. But as the night deepened, the rain grew crueler, icy, relentless. Maya pressed her knees to her chest and tried to find warmth in her own breath. That's when she heard it, a sound so soft, so sorrowful it barely rose above the storm, a whimper. She lifted her head, straining to listen. There it was again, faint but desperate. She crawled toward the noise, her palms sinking into puddles until she saw it. A dog, small and trembling, crouched beneath a fallen wooden crate. Its fur, once golden, was now matted with mud, and one paw was twisted awkwardly, bleeding from a cut. "Oh no," Maya whispered. "You're hurt." The dog growled weakly, baring its teeth, not out of malice but fear. Maya lowered her voice, soft and slow. "Hey, it's okay. I know you're scared. Me too." For a moment they just stared at each other, the girl and the dog, both lost, both alone in the rain. Then inch by inch Maya held out her hand. The dog sniffed it once, then twice, and finally, with a small shiver, took a step forward. "That's it," she murmured. "You're safe now." She wrapped the dog in her soaked blanket, ignoring the cold biting into her skin. She pressed him to her chest, feeling the rapid thump of his tiny heart against hers. Together they crawled back to her corner beneath the bakery's overhang. The dog whimpered as she tore a strip from her only dry shirt and wrapped it gently around his paw. Then she cupped her hands, catching rainwater to clean the wound. When the thunder rumbled again, the dog pressed its head against her shoulder, trembling. Maya smiled through her chattering teeth. "It's all right, buddy. I'm here. We'll wait it out together." She hummed softly, an old lullaby her mother used to sing before everything went wrong. The dog's breathing slowed. Eventually it drifted to sleep in her lap while she stayed awake, keeping watch as the storm raged on. By dawn, the rain had stopped. Sunlight crept over the rooftops, glinting off puddles like scattered gold. Maya looked down at the dog curled beside her, now sleeping peacefully. She stroked its damp fur. "Guess we both made it," she whispered with a smile. "You and me against the world, huh?" The dog wagged its tail weakly in response, as if it understood. The next morning was unusually bright. Maya sat on the cracked step of the abandoned building she called home, sharing the last piece of bread with her new companion. She'd named him Sonny, because even under the grayest sky, his eyes seemed to hold a bit of light. When she reached out to scratch his head, he barked once, then looked toward the street. Moments later, she heard it too, the steady hum of an expensive car engine, not something that belonged in her part of town. A black SUV stopped at the curb. The door opened and a tall man stepped out, his dark coat cutting through the morning chill. His shoes gleamed, his hair neatly combed, his expression sharp until his gaze fell on the dog. "Bailey!" the man cried, voice breaking. Sonny Bailey sprang up, tail wagging furiously, barking with joy. He raced toward the man, who dropped to his knees in disbelief. "Bailey, it's you. My God, I thought I lost you forever." The man's hands shook as he buried his face in the dog's fur. Maya stood frozen, clutching the edge of her blanket. You know him?" The man looked up, eyes wet. "Know him? He's my best friend. He went missing 2 nights ago during the storm. I've been searching nonstop." Maya's heart squeezed. "I found him last night. He was cold and hurt." The man turned fully to her now, really seeing her, this thin, rain-worn girl with soft eyes and gentle hands. He noticed the torn strip of cloth around the dog's paw and the way she stood protectively nearby, as if she'd die before letting harm come to him. He rose to his feet and took a careful step forward. "Thank you," he said quietly. "You saved his life." Maya shrugged, embarrassed. He looked like he needed help. The man smiled faintly, though his eyes were filled with something deeper, gratitude, and maybe a touch of guilt. "I'm Ethan Cole," he said, extending a hand. CEO of Cole Enterprises. The name meant nothing to her. She just stared at his hand, hesitant. Ethan glanced around. The cracked walls, the blanket folded neatly on a crate, the small pile of belongings in the corner. "Do you live here?" he asked softly. She nodded once. He paused, then said, "You know, you could have kept him. Or sold him. People would pay a lot for this dog." "I don't want money," Maya said simply. "He needed me. That was enough." Ethan looked at her as if he'd never met anyone like her before. In his world, people didn't do things without expecting something in return. Yet here she was, barefoot, hungry, and still capable of kindness purer than anything he'd known in years. "Come with me," he said finally. "Let me help you. You gave me back my family. I'd like to return the favor." Maya blinked, unsure if she'd heard right. "You mean—" "I mean food. A warm bed, a shower. Maybe a job at my company if you'd like. You don't have to live like this anymore." For a long moment she didn't answer. She looked at Bailey, Sonny, who wagged his tail and nuzzled her leg as if urging her to go. "Okay," she whispered finally, her voice trembling, "but only if he comes too." Ethan chuckled. He wouldn't have it any other way. He held out his hand again, and this time she took it. As they walked toward the car, the city around them glimmered in the morning sun. For the first time in years, Maya felt something warm unfurl in her chest, something she'd almost forgotten how to feel. Hope. And as the car pulled away, the reflection of a girl, a dog, and a man shimmered in the window. Three souls who had found one another by chance, yet were bound unmistakably by heart.